All right, we are now with inside Appia. As I mentioned, custom fields can be built at the business level or the reference level to apply to all projects in your business or at the project level. Let's start with the reference. When I expand my reference data, you can see I have my custom fields down here. And you can see there's three areas where we can apply custom fields: change orders, daily reports, and diaries. Change orders and diaries are the same in that when we add custom fields, they are going to the change order overview or they're going to the diary overview. Daily reports differ in that you can put custom fields in two locations on a daily report, also at the overview and within the item posting. As you can see, I already have my custom fields configured for the sake of this demo, but I do want to show you how this works. Wherever you want to add them, simply hit the add button. You'll be asked to provide a field label, and then you can select your field type. If you need something like a drop-down or a multi-select, you'll then be able to input the different options you want available for the user to choose from. Now we're going to go over to the project and show you what this looks like at the project level. On the left-hand side in our navigational bar, if we scroll down, we have a More button. And then if we scroll down to the bottom of that, we have a project settings. Here in our project settings, we have a custom fields page. And you can see at the project level, we can apply custom fields again to our daily report overview and our item posting. I want to reiterate that these custom fields will be specific to this project only. So the usefulness here is to collect something that only really applies to this one project that you wouldn't want to appear on all of your other projects. These work the same way. When I click Add, I'm presented with the ability to create a field label and a field type, but this was that difference I was mentioning in the PowerPoint. I can also make these fields required, enforcing a response to them before the inspector can submit the daily report. Let's go see what these look like in practice. So now that we've set up our custom fields at the reference level and at the project level, I can navigate to my daily activities. I can click on today, and I can add a daily report. And we'll see that we have our standard fields for the daily report in Appia, but then below our remarks field, we start to see our custom fields. I want to point out that any custom fields added at the reference level and the project level, you will always see the reference level ones displayed first since they are global. So these three were added at reference, and then you can see these three were added at project. We'll go ahead and select a couple. And then we will hit save. Let's now also navigate to our item posting so we could see what those custom fields look like as well. I'll go ahead and add an item posting. And like before, we have our standard fields. And then once we get down below our location and offsets, we have all of our custom fields. Go ahead and answer a few of these as well. And we'll hit save. Coming back to our overview screen here, you can see the answers to our custom fields here and the answers to our custom fields on our item posting as well. In addition, I mentioned that you can generate reports from this. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. I'm going to generate a daily report, and you'll see we have our overview fields here at the top and our item posting custom fields here in the item posting. All right. We walked through creating custom fields at the reference level, at the project level. I showed you what they look like in practice for the daily report and the item posting within the daily report. And the same would be true for change orders and diaries as well. And you can also generate a report from those as well too. Let's now jump into our custom worksheets. For worksheets, we're going to navigate back to the reference level. These also live under the reference data button, and they live within the collection. I already have a collection set up, but if you don't, it's easy to create a collection. You can set up your items, your materials, your item material relationships, and you can also create your custom worksheets. Since I already have my collection set up, I'm going to jump into my collection. These were the different pages I was telling you about within them that you can set up. Mine are already set up here today. And we're going to navigate over to worksheets. I also already have a custom worksheet set up here, but I do want to show you how you can add our standard pre-built worksheets in case those are sufficient for you, or you can create your own custom worksheet. Selecting custom worksheet kicks off the worksheet builder. It requires a worksheet name and then a field type. A formula is not required, but you can absolutely create one if you need it for the pay items that you're building this for. You can add as many fields as you like to this. You can even move the fields around if you need them to display in a certain order. And you can mark these fields as required. I'm going to click into the field type and show you that the custom worksheet does have a few additional field types that custom fields do not have. So you can see we have our text box, our text, checkbox, and multi-select. We also have number, drop-down description, and the date picker. These are unique fields to just a worksheet builder. Now, I'm not going to build one from scratch for the sake of our demo, so I'm going to just hit cancel here, and I will go into the one that I have already built to show you what that looks like. So as you can see, I have a worksheet name. I do have a formula built out here, and then you see my fields below. One thing to point out, when building a formula, you can only build formulas based on number fields. So what does that look like in practice? I have 4 number fields here: length, width, thickness, and material density. And then I have various other fields here as well. So when I come into my formula builder, I'm just going to hit edit since I already have one. You'll see that the options available to me are only those number field options. In addition to being able to build a formula out of your existing number fields, so you do have to set those up first before you can create a formula, you also have the concept of a custom number, and that allows you to have a static number or a defined number that you need, like I have here, where I have the entire formula divided by 2000. Once you're all set with your formula, you go ahead and hit apply. It adds your formula to your worksheet, and you're ready to rock and roll. You hit save, and then you're ready to start associating pay items to the worksheet. I already have my item that we're going to use today associated, but if I needed to add more, I can simply click this button here. We will be presented with all the items that are in this collection that I could add to this worksheet. All right, we walked through standard worksheets, custom worksheets, building a worksheet from scratch, and associating items. Once you have a collection, a custom worksheet at the collection level, any project that you create from this point forward that has this collection and items from this collection in it, and those items are associated to this worksheet, when you progress that project to under construction, it will automatically inherit this worksheet for you. So you don't have to manually add the worksheet to every project each time. Now, if the project is already under construction, then you could still manually add it, and we're going to walk through that right now. So I'm going to go back to my projects. I'm going to go into my project. And again, on the left-hand side, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this navigation bar. I'm going to click on More, and you'll see that we have our worksheets area here. You can see I already have this worksheet pulled into this, but if we just created a fresh one just now and we associated it to a pay item, this contract or this project is already under construction. So the way that would work is I'd just simply come here and click Add Worksheets, select it from my options, and then add it. Let's go look at this worksheet in practice. I'm going to go back to my daily activities, and we're just going to jump right back into that daily report that we are already using previously. I'm going to come down to my item posting, and the item posting that I selected earlier was one that was already associated to this worksheet. You'll notice that the quantity place field is disabled at this moment, and that is because I have not yet interacted with the worksheet. Once I do and hit save, then I will be able to edit the quantity place. And this is important because we wanted to make sure that if you are placing a worksheet for a pay item, there has to be a way that enforces some sort of interaction with that worksheet. If the worksheet does contain a formula, the result of that formula would automatically populate the quantity place for you. If it does not, then once you enter your data and apply it, the quantity place field will be editable, but it'll still say 0, and you can add the value that you need. So let's go ahead and look at that. We'll hit Use Worksheet. We get our slide out with all of those worksheet fields that I showed you in the builder. You could see a formula here at the top that I showed you previously, and these are just all those fields that I walked you through in the builder. Fields that are associated to a formula, those are always required. You may be thinking that you didn't see that they were marked required on the worksheet. Well, if a formula exists, the number field is definitely required to enter data into. But we can go ahead and enter data here. I'll just click on this and you'll see I have some pre-saved data. And then we'll go ahead and answer a couple of these. We'll say a core sample was taken, but a compaction testing was not completed. We don't have any non-conformance notes, and we have all of our formula values there. In case I want to just make sure that the calculated result is what I'm expecting, I can simply hit preview. If that's what we expect, we're good to go. I'll hit use worksheet, and you'll see that our quantity updates to 88.8 as we saw in the worksheet. I'll go ahead and hit save here. All that extra data has now just flowed into our item history. So let's go take a look at that. I'm going to go over to my items page. That was line item 0030. So I'm going to hit my menu button here and come into history. And as I scroll down, you'll see that there's my posting. There's my worksheet. And you can see all the other times that I've used the worksheet for this item. You have your standard stationing information here, calculated value, quantity placed to date. And then for each of these worksheets, you can simply click it and see all of those fields that were entered into. This data can be exported, so I'll go ahead and click the export button. We will get a CSV file, and you can easily see all the information ever entered for this pay item on a worksheet. In addition to that, just like in a lot of areas of the system, we also have reports here, and you can come down to the worksheet history and generate a PDF report, and that will contain the same information in a report format. Now, in the PowerPoint, I mentioned AI layers and foundations. All of this data that was entered on this worksheet has now been saved to the database. This is super important because as we begin to implement AI features and functionality into Appia, all of this data using that AI layer will be able to be queried, searched, build and drive insights, perform analysis, whatever it is that you're looking to do, the AI layer will be able to grab that data and perform that analysis for you, and making that data much, much more useful as it is all encompassed within one system. To summarize, we've talked about building custom fields at the reference level, at the project level, custom worksheets, associated them to a project, and we saw all of this work in practice.